Look, everyone, thank you for being here today. I'm hopefully not going to speak for too long. You hope I'm not going to speak for too long. It's been a brilliant day. Thank you for all of your questions, your conversations, your energy and your hope. We've had twice as many people here as last year. We also had a snapper outside from the Daily Mail so that you know you're getting somewhere. Look, much can change in a year. The last year, Andy was on the platform and he was a mere twinkle in the nation's eye. Now he's running for Makerfield, but he's also running to be the Prime Minister, and we wish him well. There is so much riding on it, not just for him, but for everyone who wants this good society, one that is much more equal, sustainable, because it's much more democratic. I'm now a certified Andy Burnham horse whisperer, and I can say that he was really regretful that he couldn't come, and we couldn't even get the video on the screen, but we will send it to you afterwards so you can get his message from him. Andy faces the fight of his life. Progressive politics faces the fight of its life up in Makerfield. If you can get there, please do. Knock on doors and make some history. This time last year, some in the hall and in the country would have known who Zach was. Now everybody does. Congratulations for Zach for winning the leadership of the Green Party in such courageous and virtuous fashion, and building a new dynamic force, a bigger, better dynamic force to counter the slide to the right. And last year we hinted that it wasn't just enough to try and pull the Labour Party into a more plural and radical position from the outside, which is what we've always been doing. But some of us would have to jump back in and not just pull, but push it as well. And so we set up Mainstream to make it more radical and make it more plural. And the fruits of that have begun to pay off much faster, much sooner, and much bigger than we could ever imagined. And well done to Luke and Kerry and the Mainstream team for making that such a success so quickly. And I said this a year ago, quoting myself, weird. We, Compass, decided in 2011 to be more than just Labour. We decided that because, frankly, we had a lot more in common with Caroline Lucas than Peter Mandelson. Well, that one has stood the test of time, I think, hasn't it? Caroline Lucas, better politician than Peter Mandelson? Yeah, just about. And we are delighted that Caroline's joined Compass and is now one of the two co-chairs, along with John Young, who will be leading us into the next election. It wasn't just Mandelson's choice of friends we should question, or the fact that he once said that he was intensely relaxed about people getting filthy rich. It was the statement that he made that it doesn't matter what Labour does, its traditional voters have nowhere else to go. Well, look at the polls now. The Labour Party on 16% in many of them. People have found somewhere else to go. And that's what happens when you take people's dreams and hopes for granted. And maybe last year you could have said, if you were being generous, that you could give the Starmer government the benefit of the doubt. Now, a year on, they're losing everywhere to everyone. When you lose Wales, when Labour loses Wales, it's like the Ravens leaving the Tower of London. It was always going to end like this. They made it clear that they had no interest in vision. They had no interest in strategy or wider forces. They weren't even interested in people being in the Labour Party. A Prime Minister who says there will never be any such thing as Starmerism. Well, he's proved himself right there. A Prime Minister who bizarrely said he never dreams, when everything that has ever happened in our world always starts with a dream. And a Prime Minister who boasts he is never lost. Well, I'm not sure what you call it when half your votes disappear, when half your membership walks out the door, when over 1,500 councillors disappear in one night, when you forfeit your monopoly of opposition to the right, first in Caerphilly to Plaid Cymru, and then in Gorton and Denton to the Greens. But more importantly, when you can't find any moral compass. I'd call that losing, and this is why it will never work. If you think you've never lost, then I can tell you, you've never learnt. Only those who dare to fail greatly can achieve greatly. The wise words of Robert F. Kennedy. I tell you, if Farage isn't to stand on the steps of number 10 Downing Street, Starmer must go. He doesn't... He simply doesn't have the leadership and political skills to take the fight to reform and for a better future. And frankly, we know who does. Now, just in case you weren't paying attention, I want to go back to that 2011 decision by Compass members to open our organisation up to Greens, the Liberal Democrats, and everyone who wants a good society. That was 15 years ago. 1-5, a decade and a half ago, before the 2012 Olympics. You get the point. We were way ahead of the game. We knew this was coming. We saw this coming. We knew that the challenges coming down the track on climate, on economy, on ageing, on technology, they were too big for any one party, and particularly a tired, worn-out social democracy to face up alone. No single party was capable of meeting these complex challenges or could hold a consensus together internally to do so. We saw the rise of multi-party politics coming, and now Compass must play a decisive and leading role in shaping what comes next. The prize? We will. The prize is enormous. In less than 3 years, maybe much sooner, we must help to put together an election coalition victory that defeats not just reform, but that causes reform. An election victory that mobilises that progressive majority in this country, winning a big progressive mandate to change our democracy and change our politics so we can change our economy and society. That is what Andy wants. That's what he believes in. That's what Zach wants, and that's what Zach believes in. And I reckon sort of that's what Ed wants and what Ed believes in. It starts with proportional representation. If all the progressive parties have the same or similar commitments to PR in their manifesto, it will galvanise the progressive vote and give us a super mandate for change. So the next election is the last under the centralising, elite-dominated and chaotic voting system called first past the post. Then we start the journey, gradually, purposefully, tirelessly, changing lives and building hope, but more importantly, building the capacity of communities and citizens everywhere to make their lives better, the only way they ever really could, collectively and democratically. And here is my beef with that Blair essay. It's not just that the policies and the analyses are wrong, they are. It's the acceptance of modernity as something that is given and can't be shaped. First globalisation and now technology, both in forms decided by the already rich and powerful. That is not politics. That is just giving in. Politics is about marshalling the countervailing forces that enable you to act on your instincts and make concrete your beliefs. The forces in party politics, the unions, civil societies, communities, the public sector, the world of co-ops and mutuals and social ownership, and every active citizen that wants a better world. Mrs. Thatcher said, the economy is the means, the goal is to change the soul. Well, we say democracy is the means, and the goal is to liberate the soul of human spirit. The Compass contribution. I'm going fast, it's a football match. I know some people want to go to a football match. The Compass contribution to these countervailing forces is an initiative that we'll launch soon that's simply called Better, that brings together the fabulous campaigners already fighting for fair votes, for fair media and for fair taxes. We make the argument that we need all of them to get any one of them. And then when we get all three, we get everything because we'll be fighting on a level playing field where the super rich can't buy influence and make themselves richer still. This, combined with our work on water ownership, PR, mainstream, supporting Andy Burnham on organising policy and strategy, means that this is going to be the biggest year ever for Compass. To get here, we've always combined ambition with perseverance. It's not always been easy. The wind hasn't always been in our sails. I tell you, it is now. But we have to keep failing and we have to keep learning. We need to learn how to do bloc politics and not just party politics. How we all work together before an election to mobilise that progressive majority and then after to avoid the pitfalls of a coalition of chaos. To help us do that, Compass is going to be launching a thing we're going to be called the Council for a Progressive Majority, a body of senior politicians from each of the progressive parties committed to working through how we cooperate before and after the next election. If you want a world of PR and pluralism, then you have to prefigure it now. We have to be the change we wish to see in the world. To finish, We don't know where we'll be in a year, but if we stick to our beliefs, the best kind of behaviour, and just never stop and never give up, then that good society could be ours. A government of Andy Burnham, Ed Miliband, Angela Rayner, Clive Lewis, Zach Polanski, Caroline Lucas, Layla Moran. This is now in our grasp. What we need now is not just a change of leader, but a change of direction for our politics in our country. As we end the day, thanking you for being here, thanking Patrick, Kate and the team from PEF, thanking all of our speakers, thanking all of our wonderful staff, with a special mention today and every day to Lena, thanking the board at Compass and all of our members and would-be members, thanking all the politicians who work with us, all of our partners in the think tank and campaigns world. We remind ourselves what it is we need to get the change of direction right, to understand where our North Star is, to journey together in all of our brilliant difference and sameness, to show us where to head next when we fall and fail and therefore learn. To do all of that, you know what it is we need. We need a compass. These are serious times. We've been working for almost a quarter of a century now to shape them. This and our politics, this is our time, the politics of hope and pluralism. Let's go and build a good society. Thank you very much, all of my wonderful fellow travellers. Thank you.